Hey there everybody, welcome to Prolific Junk. On my to-do list has been a post-it note right over there that says write 30 minutes of fiction. Guess how long it's been on my wall for? It's been about 3 days and I haven't done it. If you want to know why I haven't done it, is because I am afraid. I'm afraid of wasting my own time. I'm afraid of wasting everybody else's time. I am just afraid in general, and obviously I'm just making up excuses. And you know what? I wanted to make this video, and then I turned on the light and the lighting was awful, and then I found this little light that's giving this awful little shadow over here, and I was like, wow, this lighting is atrocious. And then I thought back, you know what, that's what this whole series and channel is about. So all we can really do is make the best of our situation and stop letting excuses get in the way and just create some junk. Even if it's junk, it's better than nothing at all. We're like bringing stuff into this world. That's what we do. We're creators. So let's get into it. What I'm going to do is be writing for 30 minutes about something I don't even know yet. I just want to write, and at the end there will definitely be some homework for yourself. You know what, don't be afraid. I'm afraid. Let's see how I feel at the end of this, okay? Because I gotta do it. I can't just preach it. I gotta do it first. So I'm gonna set a timer for 30 minutes and see where I come out at the end of that, and maybe, just maybe, I will read some of it out loud. Because sharing is important, and getting feedback is important, and it's gonna be bad, okay? But that's the whole point. I got my Snoopy mug here and some coffee, and it's like 8 o'clock at night, but it doesn't matter. This is what gets me going. This is my lifeblood. And without further ado, wish us luck. Yeah, here we go. So I did my 30 minutes, and how did it go? It wasn't that good. How did I feel about doing it? I felt okay. I felt surprisingly okay. Now, if I try to dissect this a little more, I think I had a good time writing what I wrote, and I feel pretty good about what I put out. Checking the word count. 784 words in 30 minutes. That's not so bad. Problem was that I started out with an idea that I had that I thought would be kind of cool, but then I started writing it, didn't really know where to start. I was pantsing it. If you don't know what that means that I was not planned at all. I had no idea what I was writing about. Besides that one little idea, I had no clue where I was going with the entire thing, which turned out to be a kind of unfun thing. I made a series on another channel, How to Write a Book, and I never actually included the stuff that I wrote in the video. The only difference here is that I'm going to actually share some of it with you guys, and I will be posting it somewhere, maybe in the video description, somewhere, because the entire point of this is that I want this to be a community that shares its creations. Let's go. The only rule here is that you are not allowed to judge me, okay? No judgment allowed, and I promise I will not judge you. That is the mutual understanding that we have. Keep in mind, this is a fantastical story set in a kind of magical world. It's not really magic, it just doesn't really make sense, okay? Here's the biggest fear, is that when people write and then they're like, oh, what I wrote isn't that good. Whole point of this thing is to get rid of your fears and say, screw it and just do it. That's a good saying. Let's say that. Screw it, just do it. Story time with Brent. The boy woke up in the middle of the yard. He was suddenly bombarded with memories. Yelling. There was lots of yelling. It wasn't the scary kind though. It was the uncontrollable, joyous kind that he had always tried to make his little sister feel. But it wasn't him, it was the kids next door that were playing outside before he fell asleep with the magic textbook over his eyes to protect from the sun. He only planned on taking a brief nap, but wasn't completely surprised when he woke up to find the sun to be hidden behind the trees and the lightning bugs to start their fluorescent engines. See that? Those lines are very bulky and clunky, and they don't really work, but they happen anyway. There's nothing you can do about it. He shoved the book from his face in jealousy of Sean, who had the magic ability to speed read. He wished he had that superpower because most of his work in school is reading. That's how magicians absorb their new magic. It wasn't fair that Rim could speed read through all the textbooks. He thought that power should be off limits. But Rim was a nice kid even if he was a bookworm. He could be out partying and playing games all day after he sped through his homework. But instead, he just read more. At least he's grateful for his power. At least he has a power at all. Rim had no powers. All the other kids thought he was just talented at everything. He always got good grades, but could never produce an illusion of any magnitude, or he could never magically persuade someone. That doesn't mean he was incapable of those things, however. "What are you doing still out there?" Shandon called. Rim rolled over and eyed his sister. The book fell on the ground and the pages folded 3 different ways and creased before Rim could save it. Not that he wanted to try to save it anyway. Rim picked up the book and drug his feet across the yard. His sister's eyebrows were drawn in. Rim brought his hand out of his pocket and landed it on Shandon's head. "Don't worry so much, Shan. I was just letting the book absorb into my face. It's my latest power." Shandon untensed and gave a little smirk. "You might get a tick is all." "Listening to Mother too much again, are we?" "Shan, I put up a bug repellent barrier last week. I told you that." "Then what about the lightning bugs? I didn't think that one through very much, did I?" Shannon shook her head. "Well, you're the only one smart enough to notice my little lies. I'm the only one that will challenge you." Shannon punched her brother in the back and ran out of the front door. She could run fast. That was one of her abilities. Rim smirked and jogged out the door himself. "Slow down," are words that Shannon had never heard from her older brother, and yet he always caught her. She never knew how. He couldn't run fast at all. He never exercised, and she never caught him reading books about how to run faster like she spent weeks on. But somehow, running down the street, she heard footsteps behind her, and bam! The next thing she knows, she was on the ground. Her eyes blinked open to find that she had landed on top of her brother. Scrambling off, she said, "Rim, what did you do that for?" "That was really dangerous. You know how fast I can run, and I wasn't even running at my maximum speed. Why would you do something like that?" Shannon looked down to find her brother unmoved from the place they landed together. "Rim! Hey, Rim!" She poked him, but he didn't stir. His eyes were closed and his hair was rustled away from his forehead. "Rim, answer me!" She took a deep breath and considered who it was that she was dealing with. She yelled, "Rim! Don't die on me now. It would be awful to know that I, an innocent little girl, killed her own brother. What would everybody think of a situation like this? Could I ever live it down? Oh no!" During her monologue, she moved closer to his face. She opened her mouth and latched it around Rim's 2 nostrils and blew. Rim shot up onto his feet and yelled out, "My ears, what have you done?" A window of the house they landed in front of lit up, and the blinds opened to see what the noise was about. Rim hollered in the street and Shandon just stood there laughing at her brother. So, I mean, it's something, right? I kind of had this idea of siblings, and then I also had this idea of a kid with no magical abilities that like lives in a world of magic, and they somehow blended together. I guess it makes sense if I really had no idea what I was going for, and that is probably something I will do in the future, is plan out maybe something that I'm excited for to write about in, you know, the next session. Because I got through about 15 minutes, I was like, where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. I don't care. I honestly don't like these characters. I feel like I'm getting into some really cliche stuff. I didn't like the direction it was going in, and that kind of like limited the amount of fun I had writing it. And that's what I'm going for, is just fun writing, fun process. This is the first episode that I will be uploading, and the only reason this one is so long is because I'm kind of introducing the entire topic. But episodes in the future will probably just be me writing and then reading it out loud and sharing it with everybody. I just kind of want to get my stuff out there, even if it's junk, to inspire others to make their own junk. And your homework is now to do a 30-minute session of your own, and if you want, please post it below or send it to me in a private message. It doesn't have to be good at all. The only requirement, I require you to have fun. Have as much fun as you possibly can with this. That's the entire point of this, and that might be the entire point of life. Remember that when you're writing. Try to plan out a little something so that, make it something that you're excited to write. Don't forget, screw it, just do it. And get out there and create some junk.